Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be taking a look at 4 electric vehicle stocks to buy after a deep correction. We got this article on Investors Place, really helpful articles. These are stocks and shares that I was already interested in. They are Tesla, NIO, Lucid Group, and actually our favorite, Polestar. Now we're making this video on the 28th of November, Monday. Pre-market trade-ins are looking kinda scary, and to be honest, that has a lot to do with the conflictions in China right now. There's a lot of tension, especially around a surge in cases, if you know what I mean. So it's not looking good right now, and it's not good for a lot of people in China. Actually, it's a sad situation, if I'm being completely honest. So right now there's a lot of protests, which means that it has had a negative effect on the stocks and shares market, especially companies who have business in China. These are companies such as Tesla. They have a factory in China. This is companies such as NIO. NIO is a Chinese company and they sell majority of their vehicles in China. Like over 99% of their vehicles are sold in China. Lucid, I believe, is an American group, so they're probably not being affected too much. However, Polestar stocks is being affected. And these are all in aftermarket trading, institutional trading hours. Well, actually, maybe I should say pre-market trading because the market is just around 3.5 hours away from being open. So it's pre-market tradings that are looking extremely negative, especially for Apple. There's been huge controversies recently with the protests against Apple, huge protests. Now, if you didn't know, one of the biggest factories, iPhone factories in China, there's been a huge protest from the workers. Violent clashes break out between the security personnel and workers at the Chinese largest iPhone factories, protesting delayed bonus payments and poor living conditions caused by stringent pandemic rules on Wednesday. Now, we're not going to focus on that too much in this video. I just wanted to bring it up because Apple is one of the few companies that are being affected negatively in the market. So let's go back to our 4 very important shares that we want to talk about today. First, let's start with Tesla. Their most ambitious plan is to sell 10-20 billion EVs annually by 2030. And I think it's possible that Tesla will definitely be between 5 to 10 million vehicles sold per year by 2030. But they want to make it 20 million. And for Tesla, might seem impossible, but if there's one company that can do it, it's probably Tesla. Now, NIO, aggressive expansion in Europe and the launch of several new models will boost delivery growth. That is true. But most important, NIO does something completely different that no other EV company does. They allow you to swap your batteries instead of just charging. To swap a battery takes 5 minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. To recharge your battery, it could take anywhere from half an hour to an hour or an hour and a half. Lucid, delivery growth will accelerate as supply chain headwinds ease and new models enter production. Lucid is the one that I'm least bullish about. I know that long-term Lucid will be a wonderful company, but short-term, they're not doing so well in my opinion. But they will get better over time. They're starting with the most expensive models, which is basically what Tesla did when they started. And eventually Tesla became a huge company that's now delivering over 1 million vehicles a year. So yes, I'm sure with time, patience, Lucid will get to a good stage. Maybe not the next Tesla, but they want to stay in the luxurious part of style vehicles. Now onto Polestar. Strong delivery growth is likely to sustain, and widening operating losses are not a concern. Polestar is definitely looking better and better time after time. Before we get into any further articles, let's just take a quick look at the shares. These are the shares. For NIO, it closed at $10.17 at Friday closing day. Pre-market, it's just below $10. For Tesla, closed at $182. Pre-market is $179. Apple is $148 closing price last Friday. It's $145 now. But that's in all pre-market trading. So it's not looking like a strong start to the week for a lot of companies, including Apple, Tesla. But now let's take a look at our favorite. Closed at $8 flat last week. Really great. It actually went as high as $8.24. Really impressive. But the pre-market trading, $7.80. So it's not looking particularly good for Polestar either. These are companies that have a lot of connections and business in China. So naturally, they're experiencing some negative pre-market trading. And that's because of the uncertainty around China. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to over-exaggerate in any way. But there's a few companies that I'm always bullish on. That's Polestar, Tesla, Apple, and NIO. Now from Polestar, we know what time it is. It's coming towards the end of November. That means December is the only month that's left for Polestar to try and hit that insane delivery mark at 20,000 vehicles. They delivered over 30,000 vehicles in the first 9 months. Very impressive. Now they have to deliver 20,000 vehicles in the last 3 months. That's not an easy job. The good thing for Polestar is that a lot of the cars are already underway to customers. They're already built and now they're just en route to customers. So it's not necessarily manufacturing 30,000 vehicles. It's all about building 30,000 vehicles. The cars that are being built for Polestar right now, they will be delivered next year. The cars that are being delivered for Polestar right now, those cars were built months ago. And they were just on their way to customers. That's what's really amazing and fascinating. But in 3 months, to deliver 20,000 vehicles, that is mighty impressive. And they're all the same vehicles, the Polestar 2. Now, due to the fact that Polestar delivered over 30,000 vehicles in the first 9 months, that's a 100% year-on-year basis growth. That's very impressive from a startup company. But this is all thanks to the help of Geely and the parent company Volvo, of course. Polestar is using the Volvo factories, they're using the Geely factories, and they will continue to do this with a great business partnership. NIO, on the other hand, they've got a rapid expansion into Europe, and I love it. In terms of business development, NIO is aggressively expanding in Europe. Last year, NIO entered Norway. For 2022, the company has planned to enter Germany, Netherlands, Denmark, and Sweden. And more impressively, NIO has already started entering these countries. Germany, Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden, NIO is there. And they're launching models. The ET5, that sedan is coming to the UK next year, which means that we'll also get a NIO space in the UK next year, and I must visit. Seriously, I have to. It will be astonishing. Now, it's also worth noting that for Q3, NIO reported a 29.3% growth in vehicles delivery on a year-over-year basis. Growth has been healthy considering the economic headwinds, obviously the difficulties in China right now. The consistent lockdowns has caused multiple problems. But NIO is powering on. With the launch of multiple new models, delivered growth in China is likely to accelerate into 2023. And I can see that happening. But with the current situation, a lot of people are doubting that these companies will continue growing into 2023 if the current situation in China continues to last. Now for Lucid, they recently announced a fundraising of 1.5 billion with cash and equivalent of 3.85 billion as of Q3 2022. Lucid has a ample financial flexibility to invest in growth into 2024. And like I said, Lucid is very specific on what they're building. Luxury cars, expensive cars. That's how Tesla started. That's where Lucid is starting. Lucid currently $10, almost $10 flat, last closing day and Friday. Pre-market trade at $9.91. The market cap, that's 16.83 billion. You know what this means. Polestar is more valuable than Lucid. That's amazing to think. Polestar valued at 16.87 billion. That's very impressive. Almost 17 billion for Polestar. And rightfully so, that's no surprise. Polestar deserves this. Polestar has been doing incredibly well, delivering a lot of vehicles, so that's very impressive for them. But that's my top 4 for today. Thank you for watching, subscribe to see more, and of course, I will see you in our next video.